Hello, it's Burgess Taylor, and today I'm going to do a little bit of a different kind of journal video. I'm going to have a two-part journal video. This first part is going to be a bit of a journal coffee chat, and the next part is going to be a bit of a flip through of my journals. Now, I am currently waiting on a couple of journals from Janellefish. So once I get those in, things will be added to and might change up just a tiny bit. But the reason I am doing this is I took a break on Wednesday. I didn't do a video for Wednesday. What I wanted to do was kind of think about everything. I wanted to do a sort of checks and balances with my journals and planning and my projects and figure out what was and wasn't working for me. And we're going to talk about that. So if you want to grab a cup of coffee or a cup of tea or a glass of wine, whatever your preference is. I woke up kind of late this morning. I've been taking it easy. I'm still healing. So I've been sleeping in some this week. It's still morning for me, even though it's noon. But let's go ahead and get started. So I wrote a few things down in my A5 Hobonichi, which is my personal planner journal. I do a bit of journaling, I do a bit of ideas, I do a bit of planning, I do whatever in there. It's a lot like my Omni journal, only it's one day per page, and I haven't really figured out how to do the weekly spread. I've been trying to figure out what to do, so I haven't really been doing anything with it yet. But this coming week, I'm going to do stuff with it. Just need to figure out what I'm going to do, how I'm going to do it to best suit my needs. And that is one of the things that I have given a lot of thought to this week. What has the short break from YouTube, and it's been a very short break from YouTube, taught me? What have I learned? What have I changed? Reevaluating everything. I can change things up to suit my needs, and that's okay. Anybody, you can do that. You can change things to suit your needs. You don't have to follow what somebody else is doing verbatim or a certain type of planner verbatim. You can do it your way. I mean, it's your journal, it's your planner. I think until whatever it is that you're doing works for you, you can change things up. How you can change journals. I don't think there's any point in being miserable with something. If it's just not working for you, it's just not working for you. Or if there's something about it that is not working, change it up until you feel good about it, until it's working for you. Now, I know that you can't spend a ton of money on a whole bunch of different planners. I mean, that one, it's not practical to do that. One of the things that quite a few people have mentioned is that they cut paper to size to figure out what size journal or insert or traveler's notebook they wanted. And I think that's like a great idea if you're unsure. Another thing I wanted to mention, I have the group Omni Journaling with Burgess, and I am a big proponent of Omni Journaling, and I still am. That has not changed. But I noticed towards the end of 2016 that there were some things about planning in my Omni Journal that really just didn't work for me. I kept trying to make them work, but it really wasn't working. So in 2017, I started trying up a few different things, trying to figure out what my best method was, because I do have a lot of projects going on. I do have a lot of things that I'm doing, and I needed to keep better track of my projects. I needed to get better track of my day and where my time was going. And what I have figured out is that there are certain things that work really well for me in the Omni Journal as far as planning goes. Keeping up with some of the to-dos for the week helps. Having like a weekly thing helps me. Having a month at a glance helps me. But daily planning in my Omni Journal doesn't really help so much. I don't like the to-dos very much on my art journal pages. I really have never, I've been trying to figure out what would work for me, and I think I've come pretty close to figuring it out. I think I have come pretty close to figuring it out. It's still a work in progress, and until I get it to the point where I'm extremely happy with it, it's going to stay a work in progress. I'm going to go through the journals in the next video and show you what I'm thinking, what I might be doing, some of the plans I have for next week to try a few different things to see if maybe that will work better. My Omni Journal is a journal that I chronicle my life in it. So it has art, it has pictures, it has bits and pieces of real life ephemera, receipts, stuff like that. It also has things that I'm learning. Like I have taken notes from The Artist Way in there. I have taken notes from the book Your Best Year Yet in there. I have done some planning in there. I have done some goal setting in there. I have done a great deal of art in there. And I will continue to have a hodgepodge of things in my Omni Journal because it's what works best for me. My mind goes really fast on a number of things and it loops around back to that thing, but it gets distracted because I have ADHD. So it's like one of those 4-leaf clover loops for traffic. So it's one real big, like loop-de-loop with little intersections. I can go from here to here, my thoughts, but then I'm going to circle back around and go back over to here. And I could technically do a bunch of different loops, but I'm going to be constantly going back in that same direction, circling back around to what those main ideas are. And because of the ADHD, planning or putting my to-dos, the things I need to remember, the tasks, the goals, the actual notes in multiple places is not a bad thing. For some people, it would be redundant and it would get on their nerves and they would not like it. For me, means I'm more likely to actually get that done than if I'd only put it in one place because it helps me focus more on getting those things done when I'm putting them down, and because I'm going to put them down in different ways. My mind, it's like, hello, there's a little tap. Hello, you got to do so and so. Remember so and so. Wanted to think about while I was taking the break from YouTube was how to kind of organize YouTube a little bit better, how to get the most out of my YouTube experience and y'all's experience with my videos on YouTube. And I think that what I am going to do is, so we're going to take a look at February's calendar. Now, in February's calendar, I have listed quite a few things. And what I'm thinking in February 1st is Wednesday. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 4 Wednesdays in February because March 1st is on a Wednesday. I had someone ask if I would go back through outlining, and I think that that is a really great idea. I've had a bit of writer's block. One of the reasons I'm doing The Artist Way is because of the writer's block. And I know that writer's block is nothing but fear. It's excuses, it's self-doubt, it's procrastination, it's a lot of different things. On the 8th of February and on the 22nd of February, I'm going to do Writer Wednesday videos. I may break them up, but I'm going to redo some of the stuff for the Witchy Business novel. I really need to get back to it. I really do. I love the novel. I love the idea. I love the prologue. I decided during November when I was writing for NaNoWriMo, the other book, the book that has nothing to do with the Witchy Business, that I probably needed to do Witchy Business in third person, which means revamping 3/4 of the novel is written. But like I said, I will have to revamp it to go to third person. The prologue is written in third person already. I'm going to spend this time right now reading what I have already written and printing out. I need to get some more ink cartridges this weekend. I'm going to do that. I'm going to print out what I have, and I'm going to section off with a highlighter what I want to keep and redo, so that come the 8th, I'm going to start redoing the outline for Witchy Business based on what I have, what I want to keep. And so I'll be writing it in third person. I'm going to go over that. I'm going to outline it like it's a whole new novel, because I think what I'm going to do is once I get done with this this outline and I'm going to outline the other book, the second book, and then I'm going to outline a third book so I get the outline actually done. But I want to finish Witchy Business. I want to outline the series. As a matter of fact, I need to kind of pull some cards and do an outline for the series, because when you have a series, You have to kind of leave room at the end so that people want to go on to read the second book. And then at the second book's end, you want to do it so that people want to go on and read the third book. You want to close some of the things up, but you're still going to need to leave some kind of hook to keep the reader interested enough to read that next book in your series. So that's what I have for that. I have a typewriter. I got a little stamp set. It's absolutely adorable. So February and March are going to be planning for April's Camp NaNoWriMo. And I know I'm doing it ahead, but I have done the where you plan in 1 month for the prep 1 month ahead. And sometimes that's just not nearly enough time to prepare for a NaNoWriMo event. It's just not enough time. Not for me. Not if you want, and I don't outline the details for scenes. I outline chapters. I'm a chapter writer. So I'm going to reformat some stuff in Scrivener, I think, too, to kind of get me where it will be set up specifically for me instead of how other stuff is done. I have an outline that's for the hero's journey, and I think I'm going to revamp that just a little bit to fit my needs better. I'm really big, I think, this year on doing things that work for me. And because I've realized that, some things that work for other people just don't work the way that, for me, the way that it works for them. My brain thinks differently than the average bear. I think my best solution is to figure out what will work for me. And I've done that with the planning and the journals. And I'm pretty close to being near perfectly set up for this year. Pretty close. Not completely, but pretty close. I have had to think outside the box and kind of just turn things around, upside down, around, backwards, forwards, trying to figure out what really works best for me. I realized is that over this past week, and while I was thinking about everything and I talked about things, is that you really should never compare your journey with planning or journals or reading or writing or art, any of your creative pursuits, with somebody else's journey. You really should never do that, because it's your journey. And it's not a competition. It doesn't have to be. Some people make it about that, but it really doesn't have to be. If you choose to read one book a week for the year of 2017, so your book list is 52 books, that's great. If somebody else chooses to do half of that, they want to do 26 books because they know that some of the books are going to be longer, and they want to give themselves some time, say for holidays or for when things are really busy, and they know they may not be able to read one book a week, so maybe they're going to read one book every 2 weeks. I am normally a really fast reader, but it has taken me forever to finish The Stand. I normally could have read that book in a week. As big as it is, I could have read that book in a week. Doing other things too. I probably could have read it in less than that if I wasn't doing a bunch of other things. But I've been doing a lot of other things, so I have been reading for an hour or so a day. And then some days I'm only reading 30 minutes, but I make sure that I read for at least 30 minutes every day. It's mandatory for me. Reading helps me keep peace of mind. It really does. But your journals and your planner, to me, I've never been a real big planner kind of person. I'm more of a journal with planning on the side kind of person. I would prefer that it all be in one book. Unfortunately, I'd have to design my own book for that to work. And because I don't like pre-dating my Chronicle Your Life kind of pages in my Omni Journal, that would never really work. I'd have to set it up like a Hobonichi in the front with the month at a glance and your week at a glance and all that good stuff. I'd have to set up the front of it completely like a Hobonichi. And then the back end of it would just be the Tomoe River paper with dot grid or grid, I like the Enigma. So the front of the Enigma would be set up like a Hobonichi. And then the rest of it would just be pages. They could be numbered, but they would just be the blank, the dot grid pages or the grid pages for Tomoho River paper, like the Enigma, which has higher GSM paper, Tomoho River paper, than the Hobonichi does. But they could be numbered. And you'd have to split it up like the AVEC, because I do a lot. Some days I have 3 or 4 pages for a day. I mean, there's no limit. You know, I don't have to have just 1 page per day. So the AVEC for me would need to be split up into 4 notebooks technically. For me to really get enough out of it, it would have to have daily pages that weren't dated. Just the back of the book with no dates. Just the grid paper or the dot grid paper, and they'd have to be set up with 4 notebooks instead of the 2 for the AVEC. So what I have done, since that won't work, because that would be like my unicorn. That would be my unicorn. I could set up an Omni journal. I could get 4 of the Enigmas and set them up like the Hobonichi. And you know what? Towards the middle of this year, when this Omni journal is done, I may just do that with the new Enigma. I'll have the blank one. I may just do that and see if that works for me. Set up the front like the Hobonichi. I'd have to write really small, y'all, to do that, and that's a lot of planning to figure out, to draw your calendar and all of that yourself. But if I only did it for, say, 3 months, because if you're doing 4 notebooks, that would be 3 months per notebook, which is about 3 or 4 months is about how much I get in an Omni journal. About 3 or 4 months, depending on the month, depending on how much I do. But that might be something I might consider doing, is getting the Enigma and setting it up like that, so that the back end of it is all whatever, and the front end of it is set up like the Hobonichi. I may end up doing that. I'm gonna have to do a lot of trial and error pencil to make the boxes and to figure out the setup of it initially, but that would be the perfect thing. So we're going to go with what I am actually using, I'm using right now, how I have things set up, what I'm doing, because this week I sort of took a break from a couple of different things, and last week was a bit chaotic. So I'm going to go do the camera around, and I'm going to show you what I'm currently using. I hope y'all have a good day. I have journals and stuff to show. Bye, y'all, for now.